The mayors of several GTA cities are leading an effort to convince Premier Doug Ford to change course on his plan to ban speed cameras in Ontario. Burlington Mayor Marianne Meed Ward and Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown have written a letter to Ford with the support of 20 other mayors. They argue a total ban on the cameras would reverse years of progress on safety in school zones, so they're asking Ford to allow the cameras to still be deployed near schools, but with a number of added measures. Those could include using a reasonable threshold of speed before a ticket is issued and sending a warning for a first offense. Now, Burlington Mayor Marianne Meed Ward joins us. Welcome, Mayor. Thanks for taking some time.
Great to be here. Thanks for your interest.
It's been a hot topic, clearly, for a number of years, I think, right across the province of Ontario and even, more widespread across the country. For you in particular, why is it so important that speed cameras need to stay in the province, especially around schools?
Well, we know that speed kills, and the faster a vehicle goes, the greater likelihood a pedestrian is going to be seriously injured or killed. And speed cameras work. When people are going slower, and speed cameras have been shown to reduce speed, people have a better chance of survival. And that's really what this is about. This is public safety. School zones are where our most vulnerable residents are. There are children, and so we need to keep them there. And most municipalities, including Burlington, we are just in the process of putting up 6. Every single one is in a school zone, most of those in elementary schools. And many of them are on major arterial streets in our city where speed bumps simply aren't an option. We have deployed all of the other measures that we can think of, with cross lights and traffic school crossing guards. We've had police enforcement, but they simply can't be there 24/7, and they have far more pressing and serious public safety issues to address. So we are saying, please let us keep this last tool to allow our children to be safe.
I'm curious, too, because, and I want to ask you, the Premier has called these a cash grab and nothing more. However, I think that I'm not sure about Burlington, and I'm hoping you can tell me more. In some cities around the province, they've expanded. They're not just in school zones. They're either around some other, some problematic areas that cities and municipalities feel that they need to target in order to slow people down, at least at certain points. But is it just around schools in particular they're hoping they stay, or just generally and still let the municipalities have the ability to determine where they go?
Well, the mayors that signed the letter are really willing to hear the concerns like that one and say, at least let us keep it around our school zones to protect our children. This is really our SOS, Save Our School Kids appeal to the Premier. It's an olive branch. We're saying, if you have concerns about them being in other places, please let them keep around our schools. And in most of our municipalities, that's the only place that we're putting them. All 6 in Burlington are around school zones. Hamilton is similar, Innisfil. If you look at some of the other municipalities, that's the only place that we're putting them. It's a very measured and reasonable response to really vexing speeding concerns. I can tell you, traffic is the #1 issue I hear from residents in Burlington. My residents are overwhelmingly in support of keeping speed cameras. I know they're reaching out to their local MPPs to ask them to join the advocacy and talk to the Premier. And we think this is a reasonable carve-out, a reasonable compromise, and we're willing to look at measures. So, this notion that it is a cash grab for municipalities couldn't be further from the truth. It is actually something that will help fund not only the program itself, but fund additional traffic measures. And those right now are funded by the entire taxpayer. So this is really a tax on bad drivers and a relief and a tax break for good citizens who follow the law and slow down.
The Association of Police Chiefs have supported the cameras, that they believe that they should be staying. And I want to ask you, because the Toronto Star has some reporting out too recently, that the threshold for a ticket being issued is at 11 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. Do you think that's appropriate? Does it need to be lowered at all? Because if it's 40 in a school zone, that ticket isn't getting issued until you saw drivers going at least 51.
Well, that's exactly the conversation that we're open to having. What the right threshold is, I think, has to be informed exactly by public safety. The higher you speed, the less likely a pedestrian can survive that, or the more likely they'll have serious injuries. So, but we certainly can have a conversation around threshold. And what would the speed limit be before a police officer would pull somebody over to ticket? I think that's where we can find an appropriate answer to the question. So we're willing to look at that. And what we've really said to the Premier is, let us keep it around school zones. We know speed kills. We know speed cameras work. We're willing to make some modifications or tweaks to the program that are reasonable but still preserve public safety, because this is about public safety and nothing else.
Marianne Meed Ward, Mayor of Burlington, thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate this.
Thank you.